Team Orange roll out their sleeping bags near their little campfire. Zwei starts to jump around and bark excitedly. Jean quickly grabs the dog in midair. Hey, careful there, buddy. Don't get too close to the fire. Ah, don't worry about him. Zwei is fireproof. Here, set him down and watch this. Jean places Zwei down and Ruby snaps. Light up! Zwei barks and bursts into a little ball of flame. Neo flails backwards in shock. Ruby giggles at their shocked expressions. Zwei, cool it! She snaps again and the flames disappear, leaving just the happy corgi, his whole butt wiggling with his tail as it wags. Yes, a very good companion. You'll always be able to stay warm with him by your side. Doctor, our mission says Grimm are starting to swarm here. Do you have any idea why? Well, there's a few different reasons Grimm gather together. Negative emotions attract them. That's the most common reason. Do you think someone might be stuck out here, attracting the Grimm? There's been no missing persons report, but still, it would be best if we remained on guard and vigilant. Neo taps his shoulder and shrugs. She's asking what about the other reasons Grimm gather. I see. Negative emotions might be the most common, but it's hardly the only answer we might find here. Certain Grimm are very attracted to dust deposits. Also, if there's a particularly powerful Grimm, the other weaker Grimm in the area will stay nearby, supposedly for protection. Now, all of you should get some rest. We'll keep watch in turns. Mr. Pine, you're the leader. You'll take first watch. Yes, sir. Ruby starts to unfold her sleeping bag. As she lays down, she looks out the broken window and stares up at the moon. Something feels spooky out there. Blake's heels loudly slam on the ground as she runs as fast as she can, the rest of her team right behind her. They charge down the long path back towards Beacon. Weiss looks around the sanctuary, the others are all still cleaning, and Perry has curled up and fallen asleep in a corner next to their weapons, lined up against the wall. Weiss leans on her mop and groans sadly. What a stupid waste of our time. She sighs and lifts her mop, ready to dip it into the soapy bucket of water again. She stops. The ripples in the soap flutter around the mop. She squints and leans down to get a closer look. The water reflects the rafters above her, and a shiny red light glints in the moonlight. She turns quickly just as Adam kicks off towards her. Weiss screams and lifts up the mop in a defensive position, and Adam's sword easily slices the wooden handle in half. The other girls jump at the sudden attack. Penny glances over to their weapons, and her blades launch out from her back. 3 swords fly towards Adam, and he backflips away from Weiss. Weiss raises a hand, and a white glyph forms on her rapier, and it flies into her hand. Cinder and Ilya rush towards their weapon to grab hold of them, but only Ilya is close enough to reach, and Cinder suddenly screams in pain, grabbing onto her hair. Weiss looks over. Nothing is near her, but then Weiss gasps. Cinder's shadow on the wall. There's another shadow grabbing hold of her hair, seemingly affecting her physical body too. Weiss looks up to find the person who the shadow belongs to, and sees Yuma, holding onto nothing in his physical hand, yet Cinder still reacts as if he's actually grabbing her. Before Weiss can do anything though, Adam is right before her again, and she barely has time to block a strike with her rapier. She lunges her blade forward, and Penny spins in next to her with her own barrage of blades. Adam, moving fast, blocks every hit with his sword, and it glows brighter red every time. Ilya points her pistol up towards Yuma, when suddenly Tyrion descends from the rafters in front of her. His lips turn purple, and his tongue turns silver. Stab your friend! Ilya screams, and suddenly her body moves and lunges her blade into Cinder's ribs. Cinder screams, still struggling with her shadow, and now holding her bleeding stomach. Cinder, I'm sorry, I didn't stab her again! Ilya's blade lunges forward again, and Cinder high kicks to misdirect it. Ilya looks at Tyrion and grimaces, turning and quickly bolting out of the room. Tyrion giggles and charges after her. Cinder looks up and finally spots Yuma. She lets go of her wound and ignites a fireball in her palm. She throws the flame at Yuma, and as the light travels through the room, her shadow changes, and Yuma loses his grasp on her. His wings flare out, and he dives out of the way of the fireball. He glides down towards Cinder and grabs onto her shoulders, dragging her and crashing into a window, descending the two to an outside courtyard. Perry barks angrily and chases after them. Weiss and Penny continue to block Adam's strikes. Every time they try to attack back, he blocks it and his sword glows more red than ever. Penny launches out even more blades, then suddenly yelps in surprise. A thick thread tangles around Penny, and she's suddenly hoisted upward into the rafters. Trifa laughs, and Penny gets thrown into a large, entangling web. Her blades try to cut through the threads, but Penny is clearly struggling. Penny's arms are stuck up like she's a marionette, and she sees that her sword strings are entangled in all the spider webs as well. Adam comes charging towards Weiss as she summons a glyph that bounces his sword back. There's a red illuminating light with each of his strikes, and Weiss backpedals away. With a swish of her sword, ice bullets rain down towards Adam. He blocks as many as he can with his sword, but still gets several cuts across his body from the barrage. "Who are you? What do you want?" "Revenge, Schnee!" He takes off his mask and Weiss gasps at the SDC logo burned into his face. The White Fang sends their regards. It's time your family pays for their sins. Weiss grits her teeth and slashes out another barrage of ice bullets. Adam quickly runs to avoid the attack. He unsheathes his sword and suddenly starts firing bullets from his shotgun sheath. Weiss gasps and quickly summons a glyph to block the hit, but it sends her tumbling backwards. Cinder punches at Yuma's arms, trying to free herself from his grasp. He lifts her higher and higher above the ground before finally letting her go. Cinder plummets towards the cobblestone below her, and she points her hands down to let out a huge blast of flames. The force of her fire slows her descent, but she still lands with a hard, heavy thud. She rolls on the ground and groans, holding the stab wound in her ribs. Perry runs up next to her and barks up at Yuma. Yuma scoffs and lifts his hands, revealing brass knuckles. They transform in his grasp and suddenly become dual pistols. He lets out a barrage of bullets. Cinder grunts as suddenly Perry stands on top of her. "Perry, no!" The bullets rain down into Perry, but they all just bounce off and fly in different directions. Perry's body is solid gold, and the bullets do nothing to his impervious form. Yuma growls and stops firing. "Good boy." She groans, stumbling back to her feet, and runs down a corridor. Yuma flies in after her. Weiss still holds the glyph to block Adam's shotgun bullets. Adam suddenly sheathes his sword, and there's a bright red glow from within the sheath. Weiss yells, seeing her opportunity, and summons about 7 smaller glyphs. Lightning floods the room as each glyph sends forth a bolt of brilliant light. Adam zips forward and slices his blade across multiple bolts. It's now so bright it floods the whole room in a red light, as he launches forward at top speeds. Weiss gasps and backpedals, and then... Weiss screams and covers her eye, falling backwards, landing on her back. She looks around in a panic, Penny entangled above her, red blood pouring out of her now empty eye socket, and Adam comes and stands above her. He raises his blade, and Weiss tries to hold up her rapier to protect her. Finally. Revenge. He reels back to strike her, when suddenly a black ribbon wraps around his wrist. Huh? His arm is lurched backward and Blake flips over him. Using his body as a counterweight, as she lands in between him and Weiss, she horizontal kicks Adam in the gut, sending him sliding backwards. Blake? Blake? Stop this, Adam. This isn't the way. How dare you betray your brothers in the White Fang? Adam, killing her won't change anything. It won't bring the people back who've died. Violence like this will just breed even more violence. Weiss's eyes widen at Blake's words. Adam growls. How can you say that? You know what they've done to me. Your parents are dead because of the Schnees, and you stand there defending her? Blake stands up straight and holds up her sheath in a defensive position. I know, but killing her won't bring them back. Adam scoffs. You're a disgrace to your parents' memory. He charges forward and Blake blocks his sword. Weiss uses her rapier to try to pull herself up to her feet while Blake and Adam trade blows. Ilya runs as hard as she can down a hallway. Tyrion's boots loudly follow behind her as he starts to catch up. Stop running! Ilya cries out in desperation as her body suddenly forces itself to stand still. Get away from me, you freak! Ilya's whip lashes out around her wildly. Tyrion giggles and somersaults past the attack. He lands in front of her, and she lashes out her whip again. Tyrion leans backward, making his body into an L shape to avoid the hit. Once he rights himself, his voice echoes around Ilya. Kill yourself! Ilya gasps, and her hand starts to shake. She starts to point the barrel of her weapon towards her own head. Tyrion stands still, watching with a little giggle. Kill yourself. Ilya gasps for air as her body fights itself. The weapon presses against her temple. She tries to fight and her whole body trembles. Her finger starts to pull the trigger. His voice! Don't let him talk! Crap. Turn that off! You sicken me. You're a traitor to your own kind. You deny direct orders from your high leader, working alongside a Schnee. You sicken me. This girl represents a brighter future. Killing her won't fix anything. It'll only make things worse between humans and Faunus. But you never did listen to anyone but yourself, you egomaniac. Shut up. If you stand with her, that just means I'll have to kill you as well. Weiss. The others? Blake looks up and sees Penny and Sun standing triumphantly by Trifa, as Trifa squirms harder and harder. Suddenly, a long trail of stones from the outside courtyard trail into the room, all illuminated with a soft purple glow. They wrap around Trifa, further tying her up. Blake looks over and watches as Glinda enters the room. Behind her in the hallway is Tyrion and Yuma, also wrapped up in stones. Cinder, Melanie, Milsha, and Ilya are behind her. They all stand shocked once they see the damage Weiss has taken. Look out! Penny's voice from above gets their attention and they turn to see the rubble from the statue glowing bright red. Blake readies herself and Glinda stands next to her. The rubble flies in all directions with blinding red light, and Adam is suddenly gone. They all look around, bewildered that he isn't there. Blake runs to the window and looks out into the courtyard, but there is no sign of him. She stares into the night and grimaces angrily. Weiss! Blake turns to see Penny and Sun climbing down to the ground floor. Penny rushes to Weiss's side and wraps her in a hug. Cinder and Ilya also collapse by her side. I'm so sorry. I should have been faster. Hey, I'm okay. I'm alive. Cinder, you're also hurt. Hey, I'm fine too, princess. Glinda sighs sadly, staring at the wounded girls, then turns to face the others, her hands on her hips. Team Boom. First of all, I can't believe you left me on that plane without even saying a word. I mean, how did you even know the White Fang was attacking the sanctuary right now? They all glance at each other, then look over to Blake. Blake thinks, struggling to find words. Glinda's eyes narrow. I told them. Glinda turns quickly to Weiss. Blake glances nervously at Glinda, then also turns to look at Weiss. I texted Blake, right before they attacked. Glinda looks between the two girls, then shakes her head. I'm going to call Ozpin. He should know about this immediately. Miss Obsidian, Miss Schnee, you need to head over to the infirmary right now. And where, pray tell, are the Albane brothers? I think they went to get food? Glinda groans and rolls her eyes, pulling out her scroll and using her riding crop to drag the captured White Fang members away with her. Ilya and Penny help pull Cinder and Weiss to their feet. They look at Team Boom, all standing together. Hey, you didn't rat us out. They turn to Weiss, who looks at Blake. Blake stares back at her, and Weiss finally smiles. Yeah, well, maybe we need to start making amends, rather than making enemies. Blake sighs, smiling back to her. Come on, team. Let's help them get down to the infirmary. The team all huddle together, supporting each other out the door and down the hall. From the very back of the sanctuary, we can see the Albane brothers peeking out from behind a door. In their hands, they hold on to Adam. One of them has a hand clasped tightly around his mouth, and they nod to each other, then drag Adam into the room and quietly shuts the door. We transition back over to Team Orange. Oscar gently shakes Ruby's shoulder, waking her up. She blinks up at him. Sorry, Ruby, it's your turn to keep watch. Ruby groans and sits upright, rubbing her eyes. She stands up and stretches. Zwei also stretches along with her. We cut to see Oscar, Jean, and Neo huddled up sleeping. Oobleck yawns and leans against a wall, pulling out his thermos and chugging coffee. Ruby pats Zwei, who's sleeping next to her. She sits on a blown-out windowsill and looks out into the night. Don't you think you ought to get some sleep, Professor? It's doctor. I didn't go to school for 4 years to get my degree for nothing, you know. Sorry, doctor. Oobleck smiles and shakes his head. I'll be fine. I can get some shut-eye once the sun starts to rise. Don't worry about me. Ruby nods and turns back to the window. She picks up Crescent Rose in gun mode and looks down the scope. She scans the area, spotting a Beowulf strolling by a distant building, then another one, then something massive suddenly runs past. Ruby gasps and tries to follow the shape she just saw. All she can see is a massive form moving very quickly until it finally disappears down an old destroyed building that looks like it was once a church. Professor! Doctor! I saw something! Something really big! Oobleck's face becomes stern and he approaches the window. She points to the old church. It went in there. Oobleck leans forward, staring into the darkness. By the gods. Ruby looks confused at his words and holds up her scope again. She gasps as she notices a sudden flood of Grim pouring into the church, following the big beast she had seen before. Wake the others and be on guard. This is what our mission is for. Hey, you know that amazing song that played during the big action scene in this episode? Well, you can thank these two lovely, lovely people for being amazing and helping to make it happen. The lyrics were composed and sang by the Fantastic Calxiyn, who's a cool, multifaceted individual who streams, reacts to awesome stuff, and has really entertaining breakdowns about music and other things. The song was composed by the Phenominal Nailik, who has a bunch of mind-blowing music under their belt, not only a whole slew of metal orchestral covers, but also plenty of original songs as well, a lot of which you might recognize from other RWBY fan projects. Please, go to their channels and show them so much love and appreciation, subscribe to them, listen to them, tell them how cool and amazing they are. I cannot begin to express how much love and gratitude I feel for this duo, for helping me out with this. Truly, give them the appreciation they deserve. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Extra special shout out to my $50 patron, Just Some Major. I bet they got cool shoes. And shout out to my $10 patrons, you're all amazing. Andrew, Valhalla Knight, Chamomile, Classy Critic, Genital War Thunder, Jake, Amber, Scaring Crows, Messiah, Jacob, Ben Sketchbook, Rain, Lucian, Wild Pilot, Juan, Bunkin Duncan, Hoodie Angel, Ranger, C1 Trooper, Sean, Ruby Rune, Lavaros, Plague, Tyrene, Thanos, Pandemonium, Peter, Agiri, Eden, Silverheart Soul, Doki Poki, Zappy, Wolfgang, Philip, Mac and Cheese, Lollaroni, Davey, MD, Nerfned, Video Gamer, Middle Coop, Vermithor, and Card Creates. So yeah, what did you think of this one? This was a big one. The big 3D fight I've been working up to this point. All volume. I can't believe it's finally happened. Can't believe it's finally done. What did you think? I hope you enjoyed it. Lots of things. We're right at an end. This was the second to last episode. Next episode is the last episode of Volume 2. Any big thoughts or theories for the finale? I hope you enjoyed. Again, extra special huge shout out to Cal and Nailik. I appreciate them so much for helping. They didn't have to, and they did, and I appreciate it. It was really cool. It's a good song. It's a good song. I love it so much. I cannot thank them endlessly. Check them out. All their stuff. I love them. Thank you so much. I hope you have fun, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.